Hello everyone, hope you all are doing well. So let me introduce myself first. My name is Atharva Nanche and I am working as an associate security consultant at Redfox Security. So today we are going to discuss about a StrandHogg vulnerability part 2. So the ones who haven't seen the part 1 of the StrandHogg vulnerability, the link is in the description. Go and just check out that first and understand how we identified the vulnerability. So in this part, we are going to discuss how we are going to exploit that vulnerability. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So task hijacking, or you can say StrandHogg vulnerability part 2. So what we have identified and understood so far. So far we have learned that the user application is running with Android minimum SDK version less than 30, which is it is also using single task launch mode for these activities. So from this identification, what we have understood, an activity with single task ensures that only one instance of activity exists in the system at any time. And additionally, if the application Android minimum SDK version is set to less than 30, it lacks the necessary patches to mitigate the StrandHogg vulnerability. So this is what we have identified till now. So further, we will understand how we can exploit this. So to exploit it, we need to create a hacker application. So how we can create one application? So while doing that, we will set the Android task affinity to the user vulnerable application. By setting this value to user or vulnerable application's package name, malicious activity can appear as a part of the legitimate user application and allowing it to take the control of the task. So we will just configure the Android task affinity of the hacker application with the user's package name, or you can say the vulnerable application's package name. So afterwards, then there is another thing, that is set Android launch mode single task, which is the important part, which makes sure that only one instance of malicious activity is running, which will mimic the legitimate ad behavior. So if I configure the launch mode to single task, so that will make sure that only one instance or the only one application is running. So afterwards, this is an not mandatory, but I suggest you can select this as well, that set an Android exclude from recents is true, which hides the malicious task from the recent app and list keeping the attacker's app concealed from users. So if you set this behavior for true, then the application won't be seen in the recent tabs. If you open the recent tabs, then the hacker application won't be visible. So this was what we need to create. So there are two steps to create this application. Step 1, we need to open an Android Studio with empty view activity, and in the step 2, we need to build an application with all the sources. Don't worry, I will provide all the code later. So first we will understand how to build it step by step. So the step first, let's start the Android Studio and understand how we can create a hacker application. So let's start the Android Studio. Okay, so new project. Over here, as I said, we will select the empty view activity and click on next. Keep everything same. Select Java and minimum SDK version, that is 24, which will make sure. Okay, and then just change this app to hacker. You can name it anything, but the reason why I am naming it as hacker app because the code which I have written, it already has a package name of hacker app. So I need to make, if you are changing the name, you need to make sure that you have made the necessary changes with the code part as well. So let's go ahead, finish. Okay, the Gradle will be building and you will get the application once the Gradle project is built properly. So it will take some time, wait for a while. Close this. So as you can see, the Gradle has built, and so there are files right now, you can view them. So there is one Android manifest file and manifest.xml file. Then there is a main activity.java file and a layout file which you can also use, which we need to check. That is Android main.xml. So now we have to make changes in these three applications to build a hacker application. So let's do it. Let's select the activity main.xml. Click over here, go to the code part, understand the code. So there is a snippet. Let me go to the snippet part. So there is a code. I will just directly, don't worry, I will provide the code later. Let's understand first what I am doing. Okay, so this makes sure that you have completed the activity main.xml file. Now we will create we will edit the main activity.java file with the code. So let's take this code. So yeah, you did that properly. I know. And the thing which I was talking about, why to name it as an hacker app, there are some of the packages name which in the code is already mentioned. So if you are naming it any other name like anything test StrandHogg or anything, so you need to make changes in the package name as well. So we have edit two files right now, activity main.xml and main activity.java. Now the last file and the most important one where we need to make changes, that is the Android manifest file. So yeah. So this is the code, and in the real world scenario as well, you can use this application to test the StrandHogg, but you need to make sure that in the task affinity that you are mentioning the vulnerable applications package name. So over here, as you can see, this is the hacker applications package name, and in the task affinity we have mentioned the vulnerable applications package name. Then there is a single task method, and the exclude, you can also add this, that is the Android exclude from recents true, which will make sure that your application is not running in the or not seen running in the background. That's it. So okay, it looks good. So let's build the application now. I will go over here. So there is a build application right now over here. Build app bundle APK and build APKs. Let's click on it. So as you can see, the Gradle is built and is completed. So you can locate the application by clicking on the locate. So as you can see, there is an app debug. So this is what is your hacker application. So I have already built this application, so you can rename it as an hacker app. So I have already renamed it, and so we will try. And now we have a vulnerable application and a malicious application. Now let's try to exploit it and take the task. So as you can see, there are two applications, that is hacker app and user application. So let's install it in a emulator or an Android device to see how we can exploit this vulnerability. To demonstrate this, I will be using an online Android emulator. That don't worry, I will give you the link in the description. Just check with it and understand how we can install the Nox emulator in your device. So let's get started. So this is my Nox emulator. To install the application, you can just easily drag and drop the application. That's it. Like this is the user application. And this is the hacker application. So the legitimate behavior of any application, or let's assume that this was the malicious banking application, how it should behave. Let's see. So I'm passing the credentials. The credentials will be admin, admin. So as you can see, I was able to log in. So if you just get into the recent tab, you can see that the user application, it is properly validating the user application, and the credentials are passed on the same application itself. Now let's clear this. And this is a hacker application which has the task affinity set with the user application, and it is also using a single task launch mode to run the application. So just click on it. So what happened right now, it ran in the background, and if you can see, it is not visible in the recent tab as well. But if you try to pass the credentials, in the legitimate application, and now if you check in this recent tab, it is take over the task, and we are successfully able to take the credentials. So this is how you can exploit the vulnerability of task hijacking. You should also understand how what is the impact of this vulnerability and how we can prevent it. So to understand what is the impact, the malicious apps often employ techniques like task affinity in order to trick users. By opening this application, users may unknowingly interact with the harmful ones and part of their experience. So task affinity vulnerabilities allow attackers to hijack legitimate users' action by bypassing security measures and gaining unauthorized access to sensitive information. So those credentials, the sensitive informations are leaked. So how we can prevent this vulnerability? So to protect against such a task, developers can set task affinity to an empty string, so the task affinity can be used, and to select single instance rather than single task launch mode to ensure their app's isolation from others. And customization on backpressed provides extra protection against the task hijacking vulnerability. And one more thing, this might not be what you can say applied for everyone, because there are some dependencies, but you can upgrade the Android SDK version to 30 or later, that is Android 11, to address this vulnerability. These versions include OS patches that help to mitigate it. So how was the session? I think it was an informative session for you all guys. So thank you so much for being an awesome audience, and today we have understood how we can identify and exploit StrandHogg vulnerability, that is one of the critical vulnerabilities in Android applications. If you want to understand more about Android vulnerabilities, and not only Android but different security related concepts, you should follow Redfox Security. There are so awesome concepts regarding all the AppSec portions. So thank you again, and until we meet again.